right. Well, thank you, Deborah, for joining us for Herbert's Employer of the Day. We're really excited to host you in the USDA National Agriculture Statistics Service for this event. And if you just want to go ahead and get started with introducing yourself and giving a brief overview of your current role.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you, Alexis and Rebecca, for giving me the opportunity to be the Herbert College of Agriculture Employer of the Day. It is an honor for both me and the agency. My name is Deborah Kennerson, and I currently serve as the state statistician for the Tennessee Field Office of the National Agricultural Statistics Service, or NASS for short. NASS has mutually beneficial relationships with other organizations such as Tennessee Farm Bureau, the University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture, UT and Tennessee State University Cooperative Extension, Farm Service Agency, and the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, just to name a few. These organizations play an extraordinary role in our success. Part of my responsibility is to maintain and improve relationships with these organizations and develop new ones whenever possible. I also recruit potential employees and conduct some interviews and pass on my thoughts and recommendations to hiring officials.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And since you mentioned, I'll probably move forward calling it the USDA NASS. So can you tell us a little bit about that department within the USDA and what your organization focuses on, and where are some locations that there are some offices for that department?
Okay, this may be a long answer, Alexis.
Yeah.
NASS is one of 29 agencies under the U.S. Department of Agriculture umbrella. And we're responsible for making timely, accurate, useful, and official estimates of agriculture. We serve as the statistical arm of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. With 850 employees across the U.S., we publish over 450 reports annually, and we're also responsible for the 5-year Census of Agriculture. We have a cooperative agreement with the National Association of State Departments of Agriculture, whose field and phone enumerators interview the absolute best source of data possible, the producers and the agribusinesses, and they collect the data that make our estimates possible. It's ultimately up to the producer on how they would like to report, whether it be face-to-face interview, phone, mail, or via the internet. One of our goals is to publish as much data as possible without breaking any of our confidentiality laws. Our estimates include crop and livestock as well as economic data, and are the estimates used on the New York Stock Exchange and Chicago Board of Trade. So I guess in other words, our estimates make the market move. Another of our goals is to provide the best estimates that we can so that we can accurately measure agricultural's impact on the economy. And I'd like to take this opportunity to mention that agriculture is the #1 industry in the state of Tennessee. And the reason we know that is because of the data we have that producers report to us on our surveys. Up until about 5 years ago, Alexis, we had fully staffed offices that served every state. Mm-hmm. Now we're structured into 12 regions across the U.S. that serve every state. Tennessee is part of the region that consists of 5 states. Other regions may have fewer or more states. Mm-hmm. But we're in the region with Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and Kentucky. So now our locations of regional offices that's where the core of the employees are. We do maintain a presence in all the other states, but the core of employees are in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Louisville, Kentucky, Athens, Georgia, East Lansing, Michigan, Des Moines, Iowa, St. Louis, Missouri, Little Rock, Arkansas, Lincoln, Nebraska, Austin, Texas, Lakewood, Colorado, Olympia, Washington, and Sacramento, California. Our headquarters is in Washington, D.C. So students who may be looking for full-time employment would go to one of the 12 regional offices. We have a presence, 2 people in every other state that's not a regional office.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all that information and being so thorough with the locations that the USDA Nass department has. You've talked a little bit about what the organization does. Could you maybe speak to the company culture a little bit and describe to us what that's like and why you like working for the USDA Nass department?
Okay, Alexa, sure. Our culture is to provide the best customer service that we can and serve our customers to the best of our ability. We've added questions to our questionnaires based on what producers want to know, and our surveys are online to make it easier for them to report. I'll use the Census of Agriculture as an example. The Census of Ag can be filled out online and is intuitive. So if the producer indicates up front as they start filling out the questionnaire that they don't have any crops, all the crop sections in the questionnaire, which is 30 to 40 pages long, so all the crop sections are skipped and they go to livestock or whatever else they've indicated that they have. So it makes the interview a lot shorter.
Right.
Another is to safeguard the confidentiality of data people report to us. We strive to build producers' trust in us, so we do not divulge their information to anyone. That includes universities, any industry, or another government agency, and that's by law. And we have been taken to task, we've been taken to court on that, and we prevailed. I love working for Nass because we have the opportunity to visit with producers who are great stewards of the land and provide the food and fiber that sustains us every day. When people think of agriculture, they may think of someone on a tractor, and that's it. Though that is part of it, it's not all. Producers keep up with the economics of agriculture and changing technology. And it's also important that Nass do the same with the questions that we ask. Also, I'm part of an organization, Nass, that provides data for research that often results in recommendations for improved agricultural practices that serves everyone who is involved in or has an interest in agriculture.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. It sounds like it's a great place to work that's really focused on serving the United States, and for your sake, Tennessee and this region that we're a part of. Now we'll transition a little bit more to about opportunities within the USDA and how our students can become aware of those. And so to start us off, what do you expect from our students during virtual recruiting events?
Okay, I personally expect that they would have looked at our website beforehand and asked questions about how Nass functions, where we're located in the U.S., what type of things we estimate. And additionally, I would hope that they would ask how to go about applying for a job with us. And I'd also like to get a resume from them. I've hired many students from University of Tennessee at Knoxville, and I have found them well prepared, and they interviewed extraordinarily well. Some of them still serve at Nass, and some in key positions with the agency. Mm-hmm. And students that have been recruited from UTK and gone on to other states, the state stats have called me and, complimenting that they were ready to hit the ground running and that they were well prepared to enter the workforce.
Awesome. That's great news to hear. So it really sounds like you want our students to be prepared when they're at these virtual recruiting events or interacting with you, having a resume, looking over your website, and really being prepared to lead that conversation and ask, how do I apply for these jobs and internships? And so that's a good transition to our next question. What kinds of jobs and internship opportunities do you currently have open? And what's the process to apply for these?
Okay, the process, I'm going to take the second part first.
Okay.
The process for applying for any, not just Nass, but any government job is now through the website USDAJobs.gov. And I tell that to any student who I talk to and tell them, get your account set up on USDAJobs.gov, and I encourage them to please get it set up as soon as possible and put a notify on any agency that they may be interested in. So when a job comes open within that agency, they'll get an alert.
Right.
We just went through a round of hiring full-time employees as well as student interns. The career fair in October was done in time for me to tell students about the intern positions. And additionally, you, Alexis, and Rebecca also notified students who may have not been available to attend the career fair through your weekly newsletter. The full-time positions were already closed at the time of the career fair this year.
Okay. And so will you all be expecting to have another hiring cycle like in the spring semester? What can our students expect as far as like future opportunities coming available within the USDA Nass department?
Okay. The information Alexis has given to us, I'm sure there are going to be opportunities, but I don't know when they'll occur. And this is where the notify on USAJobs.gov will come in extremely valuable. As I learn of the openings, I'll send or post the job descriptions, which will also be posted to USAJobs.gov. And my understanding is you will put that job description in your weekly newsletter to spread the information as much as possible. Sometimes if I'm away and the job post while I'm away, I may be on vacation, out of the state or whatever, but not likely right now, unfortunately.
Right.
But if I were away, I wouldn't see the job posting. And that's where the notify really, really comes in handy. We hire students who are still in school and interview with us. And when we have openings, we look at what they post to USA Jobs, and they have to make what we call a cert, meaning that they are the best one among other of the best qualified persons for that position. We also have a Pathways program that students can apply to, and also a recent graduate program, people who have graduated within the last 2 years. So it's not just people who are in school right now. We require 9 hours in mathematics and 6 hours in statistics, so 15 hours total. For full-time employment. However, it's not required for student interns, but will be should they pursue a full-time position with us.
Right. Thank you again for sharing all of that. So again, it sounds like our students need to be proactive and actively looking on Handshake, looking at our weekly newsletters, and of course, signing up for USAJobs.gov. And that's a great feature that you shared with us of selecting to get notifications from the departments within the government that they're interested in, just so they can make sure that they're aware of those. I think, yeah. So as a follow-up kind of to that, you kind of alluded to this, but would you say that most positions within government and specifically USDA Nass are not listed on USAJobs.gov for an extended period of time? So our students need to be really proactively looking and ready to apply when they come available.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was reiterated to our students here.
And thank you for letting me get that out to the students.
Yes. Yeah. So our next question, and you kind of talked a little bit about this with your class requirements with math and statistics. What kind of experiences make candidates a good fit to work with the USDA Nass? And is there anything that could be put on a resume that makes a candidate stand out?
The resumes that I've looked at, I've always liked that students have worked in other jobs, say at grocery stores or gas stations, anywhere where they've had to deal with the public, because our job requires us to do that
right
on a continual basis. So they'll have that experience in hand. Farming background is a plus, but it is not required. Being able to work independently and in groups. Good writing and speaking skills is a major plus. Being bilingual is a plus, but again, not necessary. And involvement in extracurricular activities such as ag clubs, tutoring, volunteering, just to name a few. I look at how active the person is overall, or did they just stick to the coursework, or did they make themselves available to help someone else or do something else as well.
Right. So kind of just to sum that up, making sure that students are involved in something, whether that's a part-time job, that even if it's not related to working in agriculture statistics, just anything with a part-time job or a student organization, just making sure that they're involved and they've highlighted that on their resume. Would you say, I know usually with government resumes, they're looking for that 2-page resume usually, versus other companies might look for a 1-page. Is the USDA Nass one of those services that really strive to look for the 2-page resume?
Not necessarily, Alexis.
Okay.
No, it can be 1 page.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're looking for someone who's well-rounded.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. So our last question today, just to wrap it up and close this out, what advice do you have for students who are in the process of starting their job or internship searching?
Okay, and our whether it's with us or any other government agency, I would suggest that they go on the web, read about the agency, look at some of the publications to get an idea of what information is published. Show an interest in area when they get to the job. Show an interest in areas other than the ones assigned to them. If they're assigned one project, they may wander over and see what somebody else is doing, and our employees are 9 out of 10 willing to just stop unless they're in the middle of a huge project, and just take the time to explain to them what they're doing and why they're doing it. And to get a mentor. Sometimes you have to ask people to be your mentor, and other times it occurs naturally. And being a mentor doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be for the rest of your life. It may be just for a short period of time, but you'll know, both them and the mentor will know. And lastly, to write thank you notes to the people with whom they've interviewed.
Thank you so much for sharing that advice. The thank you cards is something that I think is oftentimes forgotten. So thanks for that gentle reminder to make sure you're sending thank you notes to who you're interacting with, especially those that you're interviewing with. We really appreciate you joining us today, Deborah, and sharing all this great information about just job searching in general, but also specific to government agencies and the USDA Nass. We're really grateful to partner with you all and host you for our Employer of the Day. So thank you.
Alexis, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.